Hey, what's up, everybody? Jimmy Smith. I want to address some of the tweets I saw post Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman that kind of confused me. And they confused me because there's an idea that all of the emotions that Colby Covington is experiencing and facing from the fans are somehow not what he expected or wanted or tried to get. Number one. Number two, people who have been unable or unwilling to separate his performance as an athlete from the personality he has projected. Meaning there are kind of three levels. There's Colby Covington as a fighter, there's Colby Covington as a person, and there's Colby Covington, the shtick and the character and the MAGA hats and all that stuff. And what I've always said is the person behind the mask or the person behind the character, the person behind whatever you project publicly, I can't know that. That's not my problem. Meaning, if every time there's a mic or a camera in front of you, you choose to act like an asshole, the fact that you're a good person in real life it's not, I don't know you in real life. We're not friends, we're not relatives, I don't see you at Christmas and Thanksgiving. You are very much responsible as a person for the character you project in public, because that's what everybody sees. And you hear that all the time, that, oh, he projects this, this, and that, but behind the scenes, he's really a great guy. Well, Hitler was a vegetarian dog lover. Great, wonderful. That's not what you're known for. So when you have a chance to project a particular personality, and you have a chance to let the public know what you're about, and you choose X, that's what you are. I've referenced Mother Night, which is a great book by Kurt Vonnegut. We are what we pretend to be, so be careful what you pretend to be. You know, the fact that you project a certain thing, that's what you are to everybody. And so to take Colby Covington at face value, I interviewed him before the Rafael Dos Anjos fight, which is the only fight of his I called in Chicago. And it was, a different dude. It took a second for me to realize it was Colby Covington. He was on speakerphone. He wasn't in front of us. And different guy. But that little window into Colby Covington isn't enough for me to go, well, I really know how Colby Covington is. I don't really know. And it's not our responsibility as fans or pundits or anyone involved in MMA to go, well, I talked to his relatives and his friends, and he's really like this. Well, okay, you have a chance to project what you want, and this is what you are choosing to project. Now, his motivations for projecting that, he talked about, I was going to get cut and I had to do what I had to do. Okay, but you made a deal with the devil in that you said, look, I'm going to get cut and not get paid. I have to project this image. You could have projected a lot of images. You chose this one. There are a lot of other kinds of images you could have projected. You chose one to project. Did it work? Hell yes, it worked. Did it make you money? Hell yes, it did. Did it advance your career? Yes, it did. But you have to live by that. You can't pick and choose. So one of the tweets that I found kind of interesting was, I'm looking at it right now, Aaron Bronstetter from ESPN. There are a lot of folks basking in Colby's loss. He almost got cut from the UFC because he was told that people didn't care about him. Whether you like him or dislike him, he certainly got people to care about the outcomes of his fights. Won an interim title, got to bring to the White House, was in a main event at the end of the year with 3 title fights that did big numbers per Dana White. He took nothing and made it into something. His legacy may be ugly to many, but he made people pay attention. Always remember, the UFC is a promotional vehicle, and most fighters who have had long-term success have an it factor, something that sets them apart. Colby's brash persona disgusted many people, but he proved he's a top athlete. Usman is an unreal talent, and it was a close fight. Here's what's interesting to me. He starts off with, there are a lot of folks basking in Colby's loss, and then he goes into this discussion about Colby Covington, as if before you bask in his loss, consider all these things. But people basking in Colby's loss is exactly what Colby wanted. And this is what I mean, that a contradiction that I don't understand is people going, well, before you hate on him, you should know these things. He wanted you to hate on him. He wanted fans to be emotional about him in a mostly negative way. And he said that. He said, look, I want people to go to fights and you should be emotional at fights. You should be, pro or anti somebody hardcore. That's what I'm about. I want people to get excited about watching me lose, whatever. So people excited about him losing, to hear people go, well, before you do that, you should know. No, you shouldn't. Colby wanted you to hate him. To borrow a pro wrestling term, he wanted heat from the fans. He wanted hatred. So all of this, people, before you once again, Aiden Bronson doesn't say that, but he implies a lot of posts are backing Colby's loss. He almost got cut and he starts making all these kind of apologies for him. Don't do that. Colby wanted all this. He wanted you to hate him. So when he loses and people are piling it on him, that's what he wanted. It isn't, you shouldn't hate him because he's such a great fighter. No, you can hold both of those things. He's a great fighter who's hated by his own design. If you saw the weigh-in, he called the fans in Las Vegas a bunch of losers, and the Raiders are going to come here, and it's appropriate few losers, and goes after the crowd. You want those people to hate your guts. And when you lose, they're going to a broken jaw. You stoked those emotions. This is exactly what Colby wanted it. So people that are trying to separate those things and go, man, you shouldn't be hating on Colby because of X. No, you should be hating on Colby because that's what Colby wants. He wanted to elicit strong emotions, and he's eliciting strong emotions. I don't feel bad at all for people hating Colby Covington, for being glad he lost. Great, that's what Colby wanted. So it's weird now that I see things like this that seem to be like apologies for Colby. Well, he did it because of this, this, and that, and hey, and it's a great performance. And okay, you can separate those things. I don't like Colby Covington's shtick at all. The dude's a great fighter and showed a lot of guts and heart in that fight. Lost to Kamaru Usman, but hey, I can separate those things. And another one I was looking at was Crooklyn, who I've known for a long time. She's an MMA writer, and she basically said, let me see if I can find it, about the toughness of Colby Covington. Where are you? Right here. For those harping on Colby's broken, she put it in quotes, jaw as a point of uber toughness, a non-displaced mandible fracture is the most minimal fracture there is. It's like a sprain. The treatment for it is a soft diet and ibuprofen. Look it up. So she's not at all sympathetic about his broken jaw and says, I stand by my refusal of owing extra toughness to Colby due to a broken jaw. When you resort to racism/gross bigotry, you get no respect from me. That was the point of the first tweet. It's my opinion. I can feel how I want. I don't care if you don't like it. It won't change. Sure. So here's the deal for me, is I can easily separate the toughness of Colby Covington as a fighter and his performance from any shtick he has as a human being. I can separate those two things. Where I give him extra toughness points for fighting with a jaw like that. Yeah, it wasn't cracked in half. But it's very tough to fight effectively from that point on. It wasn't that he continued fighting. A lot of fighters would have kept fighting. But he was still aggressive and still moving forward and still trying to win the fight. A lot of fighters would have continued fighting, but would have really protected that jaw. Would have kind of been hands up, picking their spots, trying not to get hit, and trying to get something done. In round 5, where he came out, and also in round 4 he fought well, he turned it up looking for a finish. Looking to finish strong. Not looking for a finish, but looking to finish strong. He didn't have to do that. Meaning a lot of people in his position, jaw broken round 3, would have fought rounds 4 and 5 in a more defensive fashion. He didn't do that. He did not. You could say not a lot of fighters, it wasn't cracked and hanging. She's right, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But a lot of fighters would have fought much more defensively with a win like that, especially against a guy like Kamaru Usman, whose one great weapon is that right hand. He can throw it very, very well, and that's what snapped his jaw in the first place. So, to me, I will give him toughness points for fighting the way he did with an injured jaw. Not that he continued fighting, a lot of fighters would have. But a lot of fighters would have been like, oh man, I got to protect this jaw. He did not. He still went for the win for the rest of the fight. But, unlike Crooklyn, I can say respect for him as a fighter 100% and his abilities and all these things. Yeah, he's a shit human being. I can say those two things, and that doesn't bother me at all. I don't have any issue saying that. I play chess, and I study chess, and I can say 100% Bobby Fischer is a fantastic chess player and a terrible human being. He's deceased. I don't have any problem saying that. I don't ever have any problem saying with Colby Covington that, obviously an outstanding fighter who's right there at the top, but a crap human being. I can also say I don't feel bad at all that you're getting all this hate and negativity. You're reaping what you've sown. That's what got you paid, is people hating you. The more they hate you and the more they revel in your loss, the more you did the right thing. By his standards. Because he's getting attention, he's getting money, he's getting heat. If you're a heel in pro wrestling and you're leaving the ring and people are throwing stuff at you, you did everything right. You did everything right. You're supposed to play the heel, and you played it to the bone, and people hate you. That's what Colby's doing. He took heel to another level, beyond anything I've ever seen in professional sports. It is. Maybe I've seen more in pro wrestling, but that's understandably fake. He took it way farther than Chael Sonnen ever took it, way farther than any other heels I've ever seen in MMA. And you could say the downside is things like people, hating, hating you and loving the fact that you lost. But you can't separate those things. You cannot have emotions on the level that Colby Covington wants emotions. That he wants emotional reaction, and then feel bad and pull it back when you lose and people are dancing on your grave. You want people dancing on your grave. It means you hit those emotional triggers you were trying to hit. You can disdain his methods for sure, but you can't feel sorry for him. You can't then go, hey, before you guys hate on him, you should know that, nope, go all the way. Because that's what Colby Covington would have wanted. That's what he does want. He wants those strong emotional reactions. They're mostly negative, but he wanted them. So don't apologize for him now. That's the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you before the next fight.